So this is one of the a picture of what in on Azure where you have more bugs. So as you can see, I think we have up to 7 here, if not more. So in this instance, you can then have a bug triage and then pick the ones that you feel are more critical that can go in first, and then get that fixed, and then it can be closed. So I couldn't get a picture of the repo steps. So by the time you guys start working on Azure board, I will take this again on a practical level. Myself or Rexford will do that. And then you guys can see how you can effectively implement all what I've said today, how you can carry it out on the board. Next slide, please. So here we have different priorities. So the QA team typically sets the priority status when the defect is brought to the attention of the development team, and it's based on the end user's requirements. Like I keep emphasizing, which is like the out of scope. So something like that, that the defects are within the scope of the current testing phase or the project, because if not, it has to be rejected. Then you have the low priority. The defect phase is not of an urgent nature and can be delayed until more important fixes are completed. So yeah, this is where you could have like a minor cosmetic defect, a situation whereby I think Emmanuel used that illustration 2 days ago. Say, for instance, a place where you've expected, you've been given a color code of maybe FF0022, ish, and it's meant to be black, or when you get there, it's blue, maybe dark blue, navy blue. So that's like cosmetic defect, and is often classified as low priority. Then we have the medium priority. The development team should fix the bug in subsequent builds. So again, it depends. The medium can also be overlooked depending how medium-ish it is, but the high priority can never be ignored. The impact of the bug on the software is substantial and should be addressed immediately. So say, for instance, customers are unable to add items to their cart. That's of high priority. And urgent priority as well is the product cannot be used until the defect is fixed. In the case of, obviously, if customer are unable to proceed to checkout, then it cannot be used. So, and it should be resolved urgently. So these are the stages. So when raising a bug, you should know the ones that are of high priorities. These are the status. They should be in low, medium, high. Sometimes when you raise a bug, you have to indicate if it's high, if it's low, if it's minor, if it's medium. Next slide, please. So the defect severity is based on how severely the defect impacts the functionality of the software and how complex it is for the development team to resolve. So sometimes some are really complex. It depends. It could come across on the automation side of things. So if it has to do with coding, and then you also have the critical severity, the defects affects the core functionality of the software, and the QA team cannot continue testing the product until it is fixed. An example of a defect that is of critical severity is one that causes the product to crash often. We also have the major severity. The defect affects core functions considerably, but the test team can continue testing other aspects of the software without this one first having to be fixed. So sometimes we do have some features that might be depending on other features. So maybe sometimes developers or BAs, most especially BAs, I'd say get ahead of themselves. In a situation whereby, like, I think it happened in one of our projects, whereby login feature came in before registration. I mean, you have to sign up before you can log in. So in such case, then sometimes you don't have to raise a defect, then you just have to leave it, and then you move on to the another feature, or just wait for the other one. So when it's depending on one, you just sometimes that can be deferred. And then you also have the median severity, which is the one I've just explained, the screen of one specific function, but does not actually stop the function from working. And then you have the low severity, the defect has no impact on the product's functionality, and it's likely to be purely cosmetic. So most, like I said, most low severity are mostly purely cosmetic. Sometimes likely to just improve the user interface and the likes. Next slide, please. So here we just have bug queries. So this is just an example of what some of them might look like. It depends on different organizations. So active bugs by priority. So you have the state done or state closed. And then when is in progress bugs, so you have the state committed or state active. And when is a bugs to fix for a target release, then you have that RTM. Then the recent bugs opened within the last 3 weeks. So you create the date and all that. So there's a tip here for you. Once a bug has been closed and the fix is actively released in deployment, recommended practice is to never reopen it due to regression. Instead, you should consider opening a new bug and link to the other closed bug. So I think one of the diagrams did have regression. I don't know, maybe I ended up not adding it. Regression can also come in a situation whereby you worked on a particular PBI and you raised the bug, and then you did a retesting. So if the application did change, you might have to do a regression testing. Thereby, those that have passed before, you have to test them again. Because sometimes when developers fix a bug, it can affect other features that have been tested before. So sometimes you just have to do regression testing. And another thing, can I also say open communication between testers and test managers helps in resolving any misunderstanding regarding defect rejection. Essentially, effective communications do help to avert things like this. So if you have good communication rapport with your team collaboration, in one word, it helps the progression of the software development lifecycle. So next slide, please. I think that's, thank you. You can stop sharing, stop recording.